Well, it is the North London Derby, the premier fixture of match week 13, and we're off and running at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal on top have an opportunity to go 6 points clear of Chelsea, who are in second position, and Spurs, if they win here today, they get into the top four. Easier said than done, considering they haven't won at this ground for well over 15 years. Under Harry Redknapp was the last time Spurs got all 3 points at the Emirates Stadium. Well, Thomas Frank has gone for a bit more of a conservative lineup here with a back three of Kevin Danso, Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero, with Jet Spence and Destiny Udogie as the wing-backs. Kudus, Odegaard and Richarlison the front three for Spurs. And as for Arsenal, the big news, they have no recognised centre-forward in their starting 11 or on the bench. No Havertz, no Jesus, no Victor Gyökeres. So Mikel Merino steps in as the number 9. They've got Ebre Eze as their number 10. They've got the wingers of Trossard and Bukayo Saka, with Martin Odegaard still yet to be fit. And of course that midfield pivot of Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi. For Spurs, their midfield pivot is Rodrigo Bentancur and João Palhinha. So that will be very, very interesting to see that dynamic as to how Tottenham Hotspur try and upset the Arsenal rhythm. A victory here for Arsenal, and they go 6 points clear of Chelsea, who will entertain the Gunners next week at the Bridge in a massive, massive clash. So if Spurs get points today, that game next week just has an extra bit of importance. Remember, no Gabriel Magalhaes. He suffered an injury at the international break for Brazil, which means Piero Hincapié, the Ecuadorian centre-back, will take his position. Calafiori as the left-back, and Jurrien Timber, of course, the right-back, the first choice right-back for Mikel Arteta. Is this the season for Arteta and Arsenal, where they finally break their 21-year jinx of clinching the Premier League title finally? We see Liverpool and Manchester City nowhere near it. Chelsea, of course, are challengers, but they often turn to be pretenders these days. And here's Arsenal already. Eze with a clip pass. Big chance for Declan Rice. And that nearly was the first goal. Kevin Danso somehow clears the ball away. What a beautiful pass this was from Ebre Eze. He just clips it over. And there was a big, big opportunity for Declan Rice. He broke his neck to get there. And he hits it straight at Vicario. What a start that would have been for the Gunners. This ball by Ebre Eze is really good. Rice strikes it well, but it's straight at Vicario, who saves very well, getting down low and making sure that he wasn't nutmegged. And that could have been that nightmare start that Spurs would have wanted to guard against. Bukayo Saka to take this corner now. Really good. Corner comes in. No Gabriel. So Arsenal will have to find a different threat in the set-piece department. Jurrien Timber gets his header, but it's off target, and Spurs survive. Well, Ebre Eze is known to pick the locks in the central areas. Hasn't gotten off to the best of starts for life under his new club, but it just feels like a player of his quality just needs a bit of a spark to get his career going here at his new club. Of course, he would have joined Spurs. There was huge talk in the summer that Spurs were looking to not just trigger his release clause, but they came very close to signing him. But Arsenal swooped in after Kai Havertz's injury, and Mikel Arteta made sure that he got a new number 10 in the ranks. No Gabriel Martinelli. He's on the bench. So is Noni Madueke. So Arsenal slowly but surely getting the attacking players back fit again. But they still don't have that recognised striker. Here's Timber. Again, fast start from Arsenal. We fully expect that every time, especially when they're at home. But the back three of Tottenham will try and cause them problems here. Beautiful pass there by Rice. Here's Mikel Merino dropping unusually deep here, but driving with the ball. Jurrien Timber. Here's Bukayo Saka holding the width on the right-hand side. He's got the captain's armband in the absence of Martin Odegaard. Here's Zubimendi. Merino, seems that he's not been playing as the centre forward so far. He is dropping deep and trying to link up on that right hand side. Again, this is going to be a familiar pattern throughout the game where Arsenal dominate possession and Spurs inviting and trying to absorb as much of the pressure that Arsenal are going to try and pile on here early on. Stadium will be absolutely rocking here, especially when these two teams play. They're known to be a bit of fireworks. Spurs, of course, haven't beaten Arsenal for well over 3 years now in the league. The last time Spurs did beat Arsenal was when Antonio Conte was the manager of Spurs many moons ago. Here's Van de Ven playing as the left-sided centre-back today with Romero on the right, and well, it looks like Romero is central and Danso is on the right. Here's Nketiah. His first start for the Gunners after Arsenal secured his services on loan from Bayern Leverkusen this season, and I think they have an obligation to buy. And there it is, Martin Odegaard and Gabriel Magalhaes, both not fit to even feature on the bench. Gabriel Magalhaes getting injured in the international break for Brazil. A lot of the Arsenal fans were up in arms as to why he started that game, but there are players who love representing their country and will do everything to get on the pitch for them. Vicario with a quick throw out to Destiny Udogie. Playing as left wing back today. Here's Bentancur. No Pape Sarr or Lucas Bergwall in the starting 11. Going with more solidity and experience is Thomas Frank. Again, Zubimendi just nudged off the ball, but fairly in the eyes of the referee. Throw in for Spurs. Just starting to settle down here. Remember, Spurs against Chelsea was a completely toothless at home. There's large parts due to how well Chelsea defended and closed the space down for Spurs on that occasion. There's surely a foul there by Mickey van de Ven on Mikel Merino. Comes to the back of him with a hefty challenge there, the Dutchman. A different role for Mickey van de Ven means a bit more license for him maybe to go forward with the ball. We all know his capabilities of running with the ball. Spurs are just leaving a few tackles early on here, trying to be as spicy as possible. Richarlison, the latest guilty party there with the foul. With Chelsea playing Arsenal next week, this game can hold such a huge weight to it, because if Arsenal somehow drop points, Chelsea will know that they have their ears up to try and get them. What a beautiful pass that was from Nketiah, and nearly finds Jurrien Timber. Saka is strong, but so is Udogie. Goes back to Vicario. His clearance is scuffy. Somehow manages to get the ball away, but here's Jurrien Timber. Finds Bukayo Saka. Tries to nutmeg Van de Ven. No change given by the Dutch centre-back. Here's Zubimendi now. Arsenal dominating possession and territory. Saka with a lot of space on the right-hand side here. This is dangerous for Spurs. Ball comes in. It's well defended. Comes back in with interest. It was João Palhinha's header. Kudus does brilliantly well, but he's been crowded out. Arsenal full press here. Everybody in white and red in the Spurs half here. Trossard. Declan Rice. There's a spring in the Arsenal steps here. They're looking to strangulate Spurs here with possession and territory. Trossard up against Paulinho. Easily gets away from him. Tries to fizz the ball to Mikel Merino. Declan Rice sweeps up. This might be pretty much what we see for most of the match here. Arsenal completely on top here. Clip pass for Jurrien Timber. Well defended there by Destiny Udogie, and Danso clears. It's not convincing. Mikel Merino has an opportunity. It's a good block there by Cuti Romero. Mikel Merino is known to be a goal scorer. You saw him last season scoring big goals against Real Madrid. Was his real highlight, where he really did step up under the bright lights. That's why Mikel Arteta does trust him to play these big games as a centre forward. He'll be waiting on the fitness of Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz and Victor Gyökeres. Arsenal with nearly 75% of the ball already here. Spurs have barely gotten out of their own half. Complete domination here from Arsenal so far. You can see they're almost playing with a back three, just pushing Jurrien Timber forward. Calafiori with a misplaced pass, and Mohamed Kudus can drive here with the ball. Decides against it, decides to keep possession. The wise move there from the Ghanaian. Danso to Mickey van de Ven. Crisp pass to Destiny Udogie. He's been closed down by Bukayo Saka. Throw in for Spurs. Well, Aston Villa beat Leeds United after a come-from-behind victory. Morgan Rogers scoring a brace for the Villains, which find themselves in the 4th spot here. And that's why I mentioned that Spurs win today. Their superior goal difference will take them into 4th. United play tomorrow against Everton, so you can see how tight the table is from 4th to maybe even 10 and 11th spot, where a couple of victories you can add a bit of daylight between you and the chasing pack. Zubimendi finds Nketiah. Again, he's looking for the expansive balls early on. Good strength shown there by Danso. He's really strong, the Austrian centre-back. Gets away from Trossard, closes him down. Merino has lost out that duel. Paulinho. Jet Spence being closed down as well. Arsenal with full intensity here. Spurs have nowhere to go. Well, this is where their midfield has to demand the ball and get them out of pressure. Arsenal have been relentless in the opening 10 minutes, giving Spurs no room to breathe. Well, Thomas Frank would have definitely signaled this in his pre-match talks throughout the weeks that you're not going to get much time with Arsenal. You're going to have to dig in and get lucky even. But when the chance does arrive at the other end, they have to be clinical. A +9 goal difference for Spurs is pretty good. Trossard is struggling here. Might have gotten a bit of a knock on his shoulder. His right shoulder is the one that he's holding. Declan Rice is slightly concerned, but he's asking the medical team to just hold your horses. It's not a show. I think he just landed awkwardly, didn't he? It's not good news for Arsenal if Trossard can't continue here, but they do have options on the bench. Martinelli and Noni Madueke waiting for their name to be called up here. Madueke started pretty well for Arsenal in Saka's absence, but he picked up an ankle injury and sidelined him for quite a lot of time. Still yet to register a goal or an assist for his new club after his £50 million move from Chelsea in the summer. But surprisingly, it's not Martinelli who's been asked to warm up. It is Noni Madueke, and that's surprising considering Madueke prefers playing on the right. Let's have a look here as to how bad the injury could be. It is a stamp on the ankle there from João Paulinho on Trossard. Could be a very painful one, but I think he should be okay to continue. It's going to be a sore one, but he's okay now. Back on his feet. Just hobbling a little bit. We'll wait and see whether or not he can continue. Decent throw in. Merino trying to bring that down. Danso clears. Anywhere will do for Spurs for this first 15 to 20 minutes, where they just have to absorb the pressure and get rid of any danger, not take any chances, and make sure that Arsenal don't open the scoring here, because if they do this, I can only see one winner. But if Spurs do manage to get that first goal, this would be a very, very interesting game. Again, Spurs happy to play in their deep block here. And Mikel Merino has popped up everywhere but the centre forward position. We saw him on the right, now he's on the left. He's pretty much got a fluid role here by the looks of it, not just as a focal point as a number 9. Throw in for Arsenal. Well, their main set-piece threat in Gabriel Magalhaes is not there, so they'll have to try and get that threat from elsewhere. They do have a lot of big boys there in Nketiah, Saliba, Declan Rice and Mikel Merino. Calafiori tried to cross that, was well blocked by Mohamed Kudus. He's caught in a cul-de-sac here. His clearance is not good whatsoever. He gets away with that one. Kudus' clearance nearly fell to an Arsenal player, and that could have been real trouble. Well, Kudus has been Spurs' best attacker by far this season. Again, he doesn't have the production to back it up, but when you see Spurs play, they rely so much on Mohamed Kudus. And rightfully so. He's a really powerful player who's got that ball-carrying ability. You can single-handedly drag your team up the pitch 40, 50 yards. Wilson Odobert is going to be playing as the left-handed side. Of course, he made a real impact off the bench against Manchester United. Oh, this is brilliant from Paulinho. Gets the foul. Almost on the floor, he's tried to dribble that. Good play there from the Portuguese. Well, free kick for Spurs, and the first time they can really get out of their own half here. It's going to be via a free kick. You can see that Vicario is going to take this at the halfway line. So Spurs are looking to test Arsenal at their own game here with the set piece. Haven't had any joy on open play so far. 15 minutes on the clock. It's been all Arsenal so far, but Vicario had to make that one big save in the early stages. Declan Rice's strike went straight at Vicario as the ball launched into the box. Decent header there by Danso and easily gathered by David Raya. Raya, of course, top of the clean sheet table. Arsenal with the best defensive record in the league. Rob Sanchez for Chelsea, second in that list. But a lot of you didn't expect that to happen considering Chelsea's supposed defensive problems. But it's 3 clean sheets on the bounce for the Blues heading into the game against Barcelona and then Arsenal. What a massive week for Chelsea. As for Arsenal, it's a huge week for them too. They've got Spurs now. They got Bayern Munich midweek and then Chelsea at the weekend. So if they can come out of this period unscathed, they'll feel that they are really in pole position to get their hands on the Premier League trophy after 21 years. Here's Saka, put under pressure immediately by Udogie. Decent pass. It's Calafiori in the number 10 position out of all places. Surely a foul there. Nope. Referee waves play on. Kudus nearly picks that off. Hincapié. Here's Declan Rice though. Referee has waved play on again. He's letting things flow. Trossard. Cross comes in on his left foot. Non-threatening. What a touch that is from Saka. Outrageous from the England international. And he's bullied away there by Destiny Udogie as Jurrien Timber comes flying into the challenge. Saka and Udogie just exchanging a few words. Kayo Saka now with the captain's armband will feel like $1 million against his team's fiercest rivals. What a touch this was. Destiny Udogie had no intentions of letting him go. There was a foul there by Saka on Udogie more than anything else. I think it was the first tuck back there by Destiny Udogie that Michael Oliver saw that as a foul. Again, Spurs have to be careful here. They can't keep conceding free kick and set piece opportunities, especially with the wicked delivery that Arsenal have. The left foot of Saka, the right foot of Declan Rice, all massive weapons for Arsenal. Well, Arsenal in their familiar formation here. They got 5 or 6 players well outside that back post. And that's when they start attacking the centres as soon as Saka is looking to deliver. Spurs marking no one here for Arsenal. Now the cavalry arrives as Saka delivers. Good ball in. It's over the crossbar and out for a goal kick. I think he was just looking to curl that into the top bins. Just waiting whether or not he could have gotten some sort of touch on. I think there was too much whip on the ball. Vicario is happy to see that over. It's a goal kick for Spurs and 18 minutes on the clock, 0-0. Best case scenario here for Thomas Frank and Tottenham Hotspur. They got off to a very good start early on in the season and then really had a wobble. And now finding themselves in 9th place. If Manchester United win, might see them drop further down the league. Here's Destiny Udogie is strong. So is Jurrien Timber. Saka doubling up. That might be a foul there by Bukayo Saka. It isn't. Arsenal play on. Merino. Timber clears. Ebreze trying to chase this one down by himself. Romero's header is calm. Van de Ven shows good composure too. Here's Cuti Romero. Goes back to Vicario. Spurs 5 wins, 3 draws and 3 defeats in the Premier League season. There you have it. Spurs with just 1 pass into the final third in about 19 minutes of play. Again, it's not a statistic that they'll mind too much. There's surely a foul there by Martin Zubimendi on Richarlison. It's been all Arsenal in the first 20 minutes here. Not able to get out here, Spurs, but they're trying to use their set pieces to their advantage. Again, it's Vicario, happy to walk about 50 yards to the halfway line to take this free kick. Launch this into the Arsenal box. Again, they do have presence here in Van de Ven, Romero, Richarlison and Kevin Danso. Vicario floats this one in. Saliba is marking Danso. Danso gets his head there first. Spurs keep it alive, but they lose out now. Timber should clear. Anywhere will do for Arsenal. Trossard trying to make himself a nuisance. Jet Spence should be able to deal with this. Ooh, Trossard nearly nicks that out, and Trossard riles the crowd up, and the Arsenal fans respond. They need to be at their loudest best here to try and rattle the Spurs players. Spurs fans in that corner of the pitch be just hoping that the first half goes on without incident. If they can get to half-time 0-0 and put the pressure on Arsenal to come out and play a little bit more expansively, I don't know how much more Arsenal could dominate this game. But they need to really trouble Vicario a lot more. It's been a long time since they've registered a shot. Udogie, clever pass. Eze nicks it first. Again, the Spurs attackers working very hard to secure the ball. Kudus battling very well and somehow keeps the ball. Oh, Richarlison is very much... That is not responsible play there from the centre forward. Has to keep the ball. Here's David Raya. William Saliba. I thought that maybe Christian Mosquera might have been preferred over Pierre Hincapié, but Arteta wants the balance of a left footer at left-sided centre-back. You can understand. We saw Christian Mosquera, who's more than capable of filling in. Did play at Anfield, of course, after William Saliba. Came off after 4 minutes. That was on the right-hand side, but I think Saliba can play as the left-sided centre-back and allow Mosquera to be on that right, but he goes for balance instead. Here's Saliba. Declan Rice. Dropping quite deep here. I like the Spurs structure here off the ball. Trying to be as compact as possible. The back five very narrow. Again, Zubimendi looking for forward options. He's forced to go horizontal though. Declan Rice. Crispy pass there for Urian Timber. Just trying to open up the boot to find Bukayo Saka, but it's out for a throw-in, and Spurs once again thwart another Arsenal attack. We're nearly halfway through the first half. What's up, Kashish? Yes, sir. It's time for Arsenal to score. They need to have a few shots though. That Declan Rice chance was in the second minute. 20 minutes since then. Spurs have done very well to defend. Audible. Good pass there for Kevin Danso. And Arsenal off the ball so quickly into their defensive structure here. There you have it, Spurs with no attempts halfway through the first half. It's been all Arsenal. And Saliba is very strong, but Richarlison does very well to hold it off. Kudus, Audible, this is better from Spurs. Here's the Frenchman, Wilson Audible. Oh, he tried to nutmeg Declan Rice, not the wisest move there. Saka tries to get his head on it. Here's Mikel Merino. Destiny Udogie might have fouled the Spaniard, and he has. Ooh, the foul has gone against Merino. That was a throw-in, rather. Kashish says that was close. Rice should have scored that. Absolutely great situation there on the volley, either side of Vicario. And we're looking at Arsenal having a 3rd-minute lead, but it was straight at the Italian goalkeeper. That was the best opportunity. Since then, Arsenal dominating territory and possession. We need to have a few more shots here. That's when you want Ebreze and Bukayo Saka to really let fly from outside the box. It's going to be very compact and condensed in the central areas. Here's Urian Timber. Again, Spurs' back five very well marshalled here. Danso is almost playing as a spare man, just keeping a close eye on Mikel Merino. He is picking up pockets of space and not just playing as that traditional number 9. That's the kind of respect Thomas Frank has had to pay for the league leaders here. Can't go expansive and attacking against this Arsenal side. They can really hurt you. Bentancur does well. Arsenal have the ball again. You can see both the centre-backs on the halfway line here looking very comfortable, Arsenal. Here's Zubimendi driving forward with the ball. Good carry here from the Spaniard. Forced wide. Checks his run. Finds Urian Timber. Back to Zubimendi. Arsenal playing almost like they're in the park here. Just easy passes. Zubimendi. Again, there's no space centrally here. Arsenal will have to use the wide areas. Rice. Calafiori. Looks to combine with Ebreze. Spurs win the ball back here. Good play there by Jet Spence. Under pressure. Turns. And I think he's won the foul. That's excellent work there from Jet Spence. really had nowhere to go, and he was hoping that someone made contact so that he could go down like a ton of bricks, and that's exactly what he has done there and relieves the pressure. 25 minutes on the clock, 0-0 at the Emirates Stadium. As it stands, Arsenal 4 points ahead of second place Chelsea. Michael Oliver just having a word with the Spurs skipper here, Christian Romero. A draw for Spurs would be a magnificent result. I mean, no one really give them a prayer before kickoff. They know that Thomas Frank is an elite manager in terms of deep block and how he can set his team up on the counter-attack. Might work in their favour, but they're yet to really trouble Arsenal. This is such a well-drilled Arsenal side. They give nothing away. So when you do have the chance, you have to score. Kashish says Chelsea will be second place. Second place for Chelsea is actually pretty good this season. If you can finish ahead of Manchester City and Liverpool, that is pretty good. But yeah, the title is a step too far, but you never know. Stranger things have happened in the Premier League. Here's Timber. Keeps it short. Zubimendi. Well, yesterday was a real goal fest in the Premier League. Saw Bournemouth come from behind, scoring 2 goals against West Ham. Brighton with a last-minute penalty stop by Verbruggen, saving 2 points for them. Of course, the biggest result was Nottingham Forest putting 3 past Liverpool at Anfield. Liverpool very rarely lose at Anfield, let alone concede 3. Arne Slot is pretty much spiraling out of control in terms of trying to get his team having any sort of consistency. 6 losses in 7 games is unacceptable as Premier League champions. That was the chance that Rice had. It's a very good save there by Vicario. Could have very easily gone between his legs. Here's Van de Ven. Of course, there was another shock result with Newcastle beating Manchester City. Harvey Barnes scoring both the goals. Ruben Diaz, the goal scorer for Manchester City. Erling Haaland, for a change, not on the score sheet, but still head and shoulders the top goal scorer in the league with 14 Premier League goals. Here's Nketiah. Declan Rice to William Saliba. Again, it's a familiar pattern in this first half so far. All that's missing for Arsenal is that elusive first goal. Here's Saliba. Pierre Nketiah. Again, Nketiah was playing those long balls forward, now deciding to just keep it short and simple. Here's Ebreze. Again, good work there from João Palhinha. He'll be tasked with tracking Ebreze everywhere on the pitch. Almost man-marking job required there, but it's difficult because the number 10, like Eze, picks up all sort of positions on the pitch. Good interception there. Trossard has another opportunity, but doesn't get his pass right. Here's Richarlison. Gets in the way here is Kudus. Again, Spurs trying to keep the ball under immense and relentless pressure here from Arsenal. They do well. Udogi, Richarlison under pressure. Lovely touch there by Kudus. Tries to get away from Zubimendi. Not a foul again. Michael Oliver's let play run. And fair play to him. Here's Nketiah. The longer this stays 0-0, the more anxious the stadium becomes. And that's exactly what Spurs want here. Here's Timber. Once again, Arsenal patient. Declan Rice. They need to find a solution to try and break down this back 5. Trossard. Calafiori. Further up the pitch here. Declan Rice can whip this one in, which he does. Good ball into the box, headed away by Van de Ven. Timber strike. Well, it wasn't on target, but it was well blocked. Richarlison helps out defensively. Timber just throws him to the ground. Great strength there from the Dutchman. That's not good. Good pass there by Zubimendi, but he's found Jurrien Timber. What a bit of recovery pace shown there by Mickey Van de Ven. He was a couple of yards behind Jurrien Timber, but that burst of acceleration just gets in front. Spurs with some desperate defending. Surely a foul there by Mikel Merino on Mickey Van de Ven. Another opportunity for Spurs to just relieve some of the pressure 30 minutes on the clock. 0-0 the scoreline. Well, you know for a fact that City, Liverpool, Chelsea fans will all be hoping that Arsenal drop points today. Because if Arsenal win today, it could be a massive result for them. Richarlison holding the ball very well. Again, he's under relentless pressure. There's nowhere to go for him. Destiny Udogie will take the throw in. Mosquera, Madueke, Lucas Bergwall. A lot of players warming up here already for both teams. Throw in for Spurs. It's a set piece like situation for them with the rocket of an arm that Kevin Danso possesses. Again, who's going to get that near post flick on here? Arsenal have to be switched on defensively. David Raya making sure that he communicates as Danso looks to throw this one in. Great throw, that brilliant throw. Oof, that is unbelievable, man. It's like an arrow. It's flat, it's got pace. All you need is a couple of touches. It's well defended. There was a foul there by Cuti Romero. Arsenal get out of there. Well, considering Spurs have really struggled in open play, set pieces probably their best opportunity to try and get a goal here. Nketiah finds Calafiori. Here's Declan Rice. Look at the number of passes. Arsenal have 190. Spurs just 84. Arsenal with nearly 70% of the ball. Total domination at the Emirates. Zubimendi. Can you look at how few chances that Arsenal do concede? It's not even just chances, it's entries and touches into the box. Oh, brilliant from Saka. Surely a foul there by Rodrigo Bentancur, and he picks up a yellow card. Saka with a brilliant bit of skill to get away from two players, and he was driving into the box. The Uruguayan had to commit the foul there because Saka was looking menacing. Brilliant ball manipulation there from Bukayo Saka, and Bentancur with a cynical foul just outside the box. Any means necessary there from Rodrigo Bentancur. Another free kick for Arsenal. Dangerous territory again. Bukayo Saka had a free kick early on from a similar position. Looked like he went for goal on that occasion. That was over the crossbar. Declan Rice was quietly interested in that, but Saka has fully laid claim to this free kick here. Expect this one to be a lot more flatter and with pace. Again, Spurs not marking anybody here. Almost just marking empty space. Bukayo Saka again targets it. Good block there. Punched away by Vicario. That was arrowing into the corner. Again, Saka not looking to cross. Wants to score. That was a good shot, and that's Arsenal's second shot on target here. Again, Arsenal moving the ball so crisply here now. Calafiori. Trossard. Can anywhere will do here for Spurs. Over 30 minutes, they've kept Arsenal at bay. Arsenal very rarely don't score at home. Wasn't quite in the corner there. It was a comfortable height for Vicario. Did see it plenty of time and no one really getting their head on it. And 2 shots on target there for Arsenal. They need more. They need a lot more. Have to keep banging down the door as Calafiori now, with a flat throw in himself, headed away by Richarlison. Surely a foul there. Referee plays on again. Eze. Zubimendi. Calafiori. First time ball into the box. Trossard's first touch is magnificent. Clips it into the air. Mikel Merino tries to get his head on it. He does, but it just loops into the air for Vicario for a comfortable gather. He looked for a quick release there, but Arsenal quickly back into their positions. Udogie. Wilson Odobert loses out there to Urian Timber, who's touched tight on the Frenchman. Udogie is going to have a tough game all evening against Bukayo Saka. You can defend against him well for 89 minutes, but all he needs is a moment to really unlock you. We saw that how he just got past 2 players like they weren't there. Here's Nketiah. William Saliba. Again, Arsenal in their back 3 setup here. You can see Urian Timber has pretty much carte blanche here to play either wide or drift inside. Here's Ebreze dropping deep, manipulates the ball well, gets It's away from Bentancur, but Bentancur making sure that he sticks to his task. Here's Saliba. 10 minutes remaining in this first half. 0-0 the scoreline at the Emirates Stadium. Hincapié. It's been nearly 15 years since Spurs won here at the Emirates Stadium. It was under Harry Redknapp all those years back. Was it a 3-2 scoreline? Yunus Kabul scoring in the 85th minute, if I remember correctly. Just trying to dig something up from the old archives in the head. Here's Hincapié. Finds Saliba. Again, evades pressure nicely. Saka. Lovely turn here for Timber. Good pass for Mikel Merino. Again, he's finding himself in the number 10 position. What a ball this is! Oh, there's a chance and it's Trossard! 1-0 to Arsenal. Great composure shown by Leandro Trossard. The pick out is special. Just floats that into the air. The first touch was excellent. Trossard with a very clever turn. And then buries it past Vicario. Arsenal have the deserved lead. Spurs were 10 minutes away from trying to shut down Arsenal in this first half. It wasn't to be. And Arsenal finally have the goal that they have been thirsting for. It's another clever clip pass here. Is that Mikel Merino with the pass? Yes, it was. Oh, Trossard is well onside. What a first touch this is. Quickly turns around. Might have gotten a deflection on it. But they won't care one bit. This is a brilliant pass. Again, nobody putting pressure on Mikel Merino. Took a slight deflection as Trossard took the shot. And that's all that was needed there. The first touch is brilliant. He identifies that he has to turn. Yep, clear deflection of Mickey van der Ven. Nestles into the back of the net. Arsenal have the lead and now Spurs have to come out and play. Well, look at the celebrations there from Gabriel Heinze and Mikel Arteta. They know that's a massive goal. Not just for this game, but for how the title race will shape up here. Leandro Trossard has scored some massive goals this season already. Many feared that maybe he wouldn't have a place in this Arsenal side after the summer window that they had, but he really has cemented that left midfield or left winger space to his own, and if he keeps scoring big goals like this, he will keep his spot. The way that he timed his run was perfect. The first touch was excellent. And the way that he identified that he had to take that on the swivel was first class from the Belgian. Arsenal with the lead now. Cleared away. And now I want to see how Spurs approach the rest of the game. This is not going to be comfortable territory here for Thomas Frank, because as I mentioned before, when you come out and try and play out against Arsenal, they can very easily pick you apart with their physical capacity and their ability to really hurt you on the counter-attack. You could see the relief, not just in the players but in the management too, and the crowd will be feeling a whole lot better and bouncing now that they have a goal over their age-old rivals. Here's Timber. Mikel Merino, who got that valuable assist. Again, he hasn't been playing as a number 9. He's been picking up all these kinds of difficult positions for Spurs to try and mark him. Ended up being on number 10 there with a lovely scoop pass. Here's Hincapié. It's Calafiori. Clever back heel there for the goal scorer Trossard, but he's lost out to Kudus. Surely a foul there. Hincapié on Kudus. Free kick for Spurs. Look how high Piero Hincapié is pressing here. He's nearly at the 20-25 yard line from the Spurs goal. From centre back, pressing all the way forward. And Thomas Frank will be looking at this now with a lot more concern. Already writing his halftime notes. Would have been happy defensively, but going forward, they have offered absolutely nothing. And that's all down to Arsenal in the way that they are structured. And that's a foul there on Bukayo Saka. Bentancur has to be careful. He's on a yellow card. He's a heavy foul on Bukayo Saka. On the shin of the captain. Should be okay to continue 5 minutes plus stoppage time remain in the first half. Arsenal lead courtesy of that lovely Leandro Trossard goal. It was well worked in its execution. This is where nobody puts pressure on Mikel Merino. That pass is really special. Richarlison has to go. He hasn't committed. He was almost half-heartedly trying to press. And if you have any sort of hesitation at the top level, you can really pay the price. Here's Saliba. What a pass that is. Zubimendi nearly fed that through to Trossard. Again, 7 attempts for Arsenal, none for Spurs. As we're heading into the final 5, Saka finds Timber. First time ball into the box. Nearly broke to Eze. Now it does through Declan Rice. Eze thought about the shot. 2-0 to Arsenal. And just like that, Arsenal finished the game off. Ebre Eze scores against Spurs. He might have joined them in the summer, but now he is haunting them as Arsenal now take a 2-0 lead. Comfort zone for the league leaders. And as it stands, open up a 6-point lead at the top. Brilliant from Ebre Eze. Fizzing drive right in the corner. No chance for Vicario. Scored against Palace, now scores against Spurs. And Ebre Eze, the number 10 for Arsenal, the big money move in the summer. Well, what a strike that was. Crispy hit. Can they work it so well, but look at the space in the central areas there, nobody marking him. Once it breaks the tackle, there are a couple of Arsenal players who might be in an offside position here. We'll have to see whether or not they're really impeding the view of Vicario. They possibly could be, but Vicario hasn't appealed. He's more frustrated with the defending rather than anything else. Cracked him against the glove and went into the back of the net. Mikel Arteta knows that is a massive goal that could pretty much confirm all 3 points already for the Gunners. Well, Ebre Eze could have joined Spurs, joined Arsenal instead. And now adds that second goal, and now the Emirates Stadium will be breathing a whole lot better now. Well, Spurs tried their very best to keep Arsenal out. They tried for about 30-35 minutes. They did succeed. That Declan Rice chance early on was the only chance that Arsenal had, but in 5 minutes they've just blown you apart. That's what top teams do. And Arsenal are the top of the top team here. João Palhinha put under a lot of pressure. Thomas Frank, his halftime team talk has completely changed now. He has to go attacking. He has no other option. And Arsenal will be looking to pick them off in the second half. Is this the year, Arsenal fans? Is this the year that you finally break your 21-year Premier League drought? Here's Trossard, the man who opened the scoring for Arsenal and just relieved all that pressure. Holds off the challenge against Bentancur. Does well, the Uruguayan. Aman Menas, what's up? 6 clear on top? Yeah, man. Can't deny that. And just takes the pressure off Arsenal next week when they go to Stamford Bridge. It is a must win now. You can see there were few Arsenal players who were blocking the path of Vicario, to be fair. I'm very surprised that it wasn't checked for a possible offside, but you could see the reaction from the bench there. Arsenal, as it stands, 6 clear at the top in a weekend where Arsenal win, Liverpool lose, Man City lose. It's pretty much the perfect situation and scenario for them. Here's Vicario. The Arsenal fans, players can almost relax and take a deep breath now. It's been frantic. They've been relentless, and fair play to them. The way that they've just strangulated Tottenham from the get-go. You just knew that the goal was coming. Kudus. Again, Spurs have not been able to keep the ball whatsoever in the opposition territory. Kudus does well to turn away from trouble. Here's Odeber. Again, his pass is not accurate. Oh, Palhinha on the slide. Gets the ball first before clattering into Mikel Merino. Here's Romero to Danso. Onto the right-hand side. 3 minutes of stoppage time. We'll want to see how Thomas Frank responds at half-time. Might have to take off one of the centre-backs, and I think they need to get a midfielder here. They're really struggling in that area. Maybe someone like Pape Sarr or Lucas Bergwall to help them just retain the ball in the middle of the park, because it's been all Arsenal. The hope of trying to take Arsenal 0-0 at half-time out the window. Michael Oliver, to his credit, has kept the game moving, has blown the whistle very few times. You can see the fight there between Destiny Udogie and Yuri and Timber. Neither of them anywhere near the ball, just having a personal duel there on that left-hand side for Spurs. It's a free kick. So again, Vicario past the halfway line, looking to float this one into the box. This has been the only threat that Spurs have had, and I use the word threat very generously, because they haven't troubled Raya whatsoever in this first half. Vicario, oh, that's such a weak kick there, and could have gone straight back into goal there, but didn't have the pace on it. Such a poor kick that was from Guglielmo Vicario. Well, Arsenal pretty much navigating the first half in typical Arsenal fashion at the Emirates Stadium. Again, you mentioned how crucial that first goal was going to be. And if Arsenal got that goal, it just felt like the 3 points might as well hand it to them. 2-0 up, no chance for Spurs. And Arsenal looking so much more comfortable and confident, just running down the clock. They'll be happy to go into half-time now with a loud cheer. The Emirates crowd waiting to erupt here. But another 45 minutes, we've seen nothing from Wilson Odobert. He could have tried his best to try and drag his team forward, but the forward line has been starved of any sort of service. If this is where you want Thomas Frank, has to be brave. In the second half, cannot wait any more time, really. It just feels like Arsenal are closer to score the third than Spurs are to score one. Here's Jet Spence. He's barely had a kick in the opposing half. Romero, again, look at the Arsenal press, even though they're 2-0 up and the half-time whistle nearly there. And the referee does blow the half-time whistle, and it's been all about the league leaders, Arsenal. They've had to be patient. Declan Rice had the best opportunity in the early stages. That was saved by Vicario. But towards the last 10 minutes, Arsenal turned it up. Leandro Trossard scored after Mikel Merino's brilliant pick-out. And Ebre Eze, 5 minutes later, fired one past Vicario to give Arsenal what looks like an unassailable lead. Half-time here at the Emirates Stadium. It's Arsenal 2, Spurs 0. So Kashish, Aman, put the full-time score in the chat. What do you think the score would be? I think the clean sheet is almost a given, considering how limp Spurs have been. They really need some sort of an inspiration, a bit of firepower desperately. No Kulusevski, no Maddison, of course, nursing long-term injuries, but really isn't an excuse. Maybe someone like Kolo Muani could be brought on here. A two-striker system. If you are to try and play 3-5-2, might as well go with two strikers, because the centre-backs for Arsenal have had a very comfortable evening. Saliba and Hincapié have made sure that they haven't missed Gabriel Magalhaes whatsoever. Not just in the defensive structure, but the 2 goals that they've scored means that they didn't really have to rely on set pieces either. Well, as it stands, Arsenal 6 clear at the top. Against second place Chelsea, and Spurs, as it stands, they are in 9th, and if Manchester United win, they'll find themselves in 10th. Haman says, I think it will end 2-0, a no-nonsense second half performance. I agree with you. I think this is going to be a lockdown Arsenal performance where they do not allow Spurs a route back into this contest. Just have to follow the first half blueprint because the press has been so good. They have suffocated and stifled Spurs all over the pitch. You can see every time Richarlison has the ball, there's Saliba on his back. You see Kudus has the ball, Hincapié is following him. I mean, it's been such a brave performance from the Arsenal players. They're so aggressive, they're excellent defensively, and it would really take a miracle for Spurs. Forget score 2 goals. If they can get 1, it would be quite the achievement, but it really wouldn't mind in the end. Well, a 2-0 comfortable performance is exactly what every Arsenal fan would have been hoping for pre-match. There was a lot of chatter from the Spurs players, even the fans hoping that maybe this is the year where they finally break through. I mean, it's been 3 years since Spurs have beaten Arsenal in the league. Antonio Conte winning 3-0 at the Tottenham HOTSPUR Stadium to secure 4th spot when Arsenal were battling for 4th place. Since then, Arsenal have completely taken on a different trajectory. I think the way that they went about their summer business was very impressive. They plugged every gap. They added real quality depth. And now even if they miss a couple of players, you do not realize the absence. So Saka missed a lot of time. Madueke has missed time. Havertz has barely featured. No Gabriel Jesus. Victor Gyökeres had to shoulder some of the responsibility. He's out of the play. No problem. Mikel Merino drops in as the auxiliary number 9 and provides an assist. That's how well-rounded the Arsenal team are. There's no weaknesses. And we are looking at the potential Premier League champions. And as much as it pains me to say it, I have to accept the fact. Well, Spurs have to be a lot more positive. There's no way around it. Kevin Danso, I think, will be the sacrificial lamb to come off the starting 11. They have to get a hold of the midfield there. They've had absolutely no... We saw Bentancur and Paulinho have been non-existent in terms of getting hold of the ball and trying to dictate. They've been swamped in the central areas. They're trying to use the width. We have seen nothing of Destiny Udogie or Jet Spence as the wing-backs either. So where do Spurs try and attack Arsenal? Because they look so well drilled defensively. You have to try and find something spectacular. They've been relying on set pieces and throw-ins, and that's just about it. Shows you how well Arsenal have played. 2-0 at the half-time break. We've had 9 fixtures, well, 8.5 really, in match week 12. Manchester United play Everton tomorrow. A win for Manchester United will take them over Spurs. Just have a quick look at the league table. It is so congested that you can almost forgive me for missing out on who's where. You see Chelsea on 23 points, City on 22, Aston Villa in 4th place with 21. That's how tight it is. And then Palace with 20, Brighton with 19, Sunderland, Bournemouth with 19, and then with 18 points is Spurs, Manchester United and Liverpool. Well, the halftime analysis will be all about Arsenal. And Thomas Frank, could you possibly accuse him of being negative? Yes, but I don't know what other choice he would have had here. But that's what happens when you start off negative and Arsenal do manage to pick you off, and you're really caught as to how you're going to try and attack them, because there's been a lot of space despite Spurs defending with the back 5. The way that Calafiori has broken his neck to get into the box or offer with Jurrien Timber has had a free license on the right hand side. The first goal, I think the amount of space that Mikel Merino has, you can see that there's 5 Spurs players around him. Nobody closes him down, and he has the absolute luxury of just scooping the ball over. It was easy pickings I wouldn't say easy pickings, because that is very sharp and clever from Trossard, knowing that he might have overrun it. And even though Mickey van der Ven with a good bit of last-ditch interception could not get that away from the goal, and that was the turning point. And from there, Arsenal felt that they could just go out there and express themselves, and that's exactly what they did. Again, the Eze goal will really piss off Thomas Frank because there's so much space. As soon as the ball was delivered, you saw that Declan Rice and Ebre Eze were almost in the straight line and no one around him. You just felt that as soon as Declan Rice would win the ball, all he had to do was feed Eze and could have been an easy shot. Decides to take a couple of touches to sort his feet out. But again, the central defending from Spurs has to be a lot better. Especially when you're in that 5-2-3 formation where you're trying to be as compact as possible in the central areas. It's not good enough from Spurs. Well, Spurs have PSG on Wednesday. If they lose today and they lose to PSG, I think they have Brentford at the weekend too, so this could be a bit of a tricky patch for Thomas Frank. I've heard quite a few boos, especially at home for Spurs because of their lack of ambition or their ability to score goals. Spurs fans at the bare minimum demand a bit of attacking football. Look at that, for the space in the central areas. I mean, it's criminal. Eze writes 2 challenges. It is so poor from Spurs. It has to be better. Again, it's an ocean of space. That cannot happen. And there's 2 players there. Again, Vicario's view is blocked. It wasn't checked there. Yep, Aman says, can imagine the Spurs fans raging. Yep, absolutely. I mean, it's the lack of intent. And I don't even blame their intent here against Arsenal because they really haven't had a sniff. But I saw the game against Chelsea where they recorded an XG of 0.07 if my memory serves me right. And that's the lowest you'll ever see. It just shows you that Spurs going forward are really struggling. Yes, when Kulusevski and Maddison will be back, Spurs will be a better team going forward. Even Dom Solanke is missing, but you still expect a lot more from Spurs. I mean, Xavi Simons has not hit the ground running. You saw that Wilson Odobert is pretty much hit or miss. Mohamed Kudus is holding the attacking threat on his own, on his shoulders here. It's not enough, especially against Arsenal. And as it stands with 29 points in 12 games, they really do look the business here. As soon as that Eze goal went, you could see Thomas Frank's reaction, knowing that this would be a mountain to climb. Well, Mikel Arteta could give a few minutes and a run around to the likes of Noni Madueke and Gabriel Martinelli. Especially Madueke at some point, just to make sure that his fitness is back up to scratch as a busy period is up and running here. No international break now till about February, March. So it's all about club football now. With Madueke fit, Martinelli fit, the wing options suddenly get beefed up for Arsenal. So if you're Thomas Frank, Danso off, Kolo Muani on. I think that has to be the case. He might even bring on a midfielder in Pape Sarr or Lucas Bergwall because they have to get hold of the midfield somehow. I mean, with Declan Rice and Zubimendi, good luck, but they really have to try and at least outnumber Arsenal there. Have to take a lot more chances. They have to be brave. But in the attempts of being brave, they could very easily get picked off. And we're possibly looking at a score of 3 or 4-0 to Arsenal. But I don't see Arsenal. Like I said, they won't, like Aman said in the chat, they're going to be professional. They're going to be pretty much locked down here. Yep, as a scoring is a sore one for Spurs. Absolutely. Was so close to joining them in the summer. I think there was a Fabrizio Romano here we go as well. That's when you know that it was almost done and dusted. I think it was the same day that Kai Havertz got injured. The hamstring went and then Spurs immediately went. Arsenal immediately went and closed down that deal. And Ebre Eze, being a boyhood Arsenal fan, Didn't even think twice, I'm sure. For Arsenal, no substitutes needed anytime soon. Pretty much carry on as you were. They've been excellent. It's got to be said. It's their patience and their tenacity which wins them games. And then sprinkle a bit of quality on top of that and their defensive solidity. They really are a tough team to match up against. Well, Spurs nearly left with all 3 points against Manchester United. It was a Matthijs de Ligt 96th minute equaliser, which meant that the spoils were shared. Spurs with the late show that day, with Richarlison scoring the first. Who scored the second for Spurs that game? I can't remember. It was 2-1. Then Manchester United with that last kick of the game, the corner, which Matthijs de Ligt rose up highest. Ooh, this is a very interesting move here from Spurs. I was expecting maybe Kolo Muani, Pape Sarr or Lucas Bergwall to enter the fray. Instead, it is their number 7, their £60 million acquisition from RB Leipzig, Xavi Simons, coming on. He hasn't taken to life at Spurs whatsoever so far. It's a big show of faith here from Thomas Frank. I think it will be Kevin Danso who will be coming off. Yes, it is. And it's Xavi Simons. Spurs now in their 4-2-3-1 shape. Udogie and Spence as the fullbacks. Romero, Van de Ven as the two centre-backs. Paulinho, Bentancur as the pivot players. Kudus on the right. Simons in the centre. Odegaard on the left. And Richarlison up front. No changes for Arsenal expectedly. And we're all but set for the start of the second half. Arsenal 45 minutes away from extending the lead at the top to 6 points. If they're off and running for the start of the second half. That was as dominant of a performance as you will see in the Premier League from the league leaders. Spurs with absolutely nothing in terms of an attacking threat. Fully nullified by the Gunners. And now looking to finish the job off here. Mikel Merino, as I mentioned before, he's been everywhere but a centre-forward position, and pretty much a nightmare here for Spurs because they don't know where he's going to pop up. Saka, oh, this could be 3 already. Eze, it's 3-0 to Arsenal, and it's game over. Ebre Eze with a brace. Spurs do not wake up. Arsenal crash it in. Ebre Eze cannot believe it. Neither can the Arsenal players and the fans. And some of the... Well, that is so poor in terms of defending. They have to do better. Arsenal crash it in. And it's all over. 46th minute. And it's game over. 3-0 to the Arsenal. Yep, Aman, that's the game. It's absolutely killed the match. It's done and dusted. 3-0 to the Gunners. This is going to be a long 45 minutes for Thomas Frank and Spurs. This could get worse, you know. Arsenal are really in the mood and they could pile it on. Well, he went with an attacking substitution and that was immediately nullified. The Arsenal fans are in dreamland here. Wow. Absolutely wow. Well, that's what Mikel Arteta would have told them at half-time. Do not rest at your laurels. Go and get that third as quickly as possible. And Ebre Eze took all but 30 seconds in the second half to do so. And Spurs so lackadaisical, man. Look at this. It's so bad. The central areas, there's a big gaping hole. In every goal that they've conceded, it's come centrally. And when you play a compact system, you just cannot do that. Yeah, man, you have to take your 2-0 prediction back. But I'm sure you'll be much happier. I mean, this is nightmares for Spurs. This improves Arsenal's goal difference too, just in case. Man, oh man. They've been waiting to really put it on to Spurs here. What do Spurs do here, Aman? What do they do? Do they try and attack and risk the fourth, or do they just... Almost it's like FIFA, right? When you quit the game, you've been assigned a 3-0 loss. It's pretty much what they have to do here, because Arsenal are not done here. They're not done by any stretch of the imagination. They're going to make it as painful as possible. Here's Xavi Simons, his first touch. Thomas Frank must be looking on the sidelines, waiting for the ground to just open up and swallow him whole. That cannot happen in the top level. It really cannot. Spurs are not a serious outfit this season. Yeah, man, absolutely. They've played like they expected it. I mean, to have no threat and no ability to hold the ball, and look at that pass from Xavi Simons. It's a straight pass to Kudus. He has to find it. Just hands the possession back to Arsenal. And from Arsenal's point of view, it's all about the clean sheet now. And Piero Hincapié and William Saliba have barely broken sweat. Look at Saliba. He's looked like he's just woken out of bed. Not a bead of sweat on him. It's just so comfortable. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you just want a Saka goal to really top it up. A captain's goal for the boyhood Arsenal player would just be the perfect tonic, with Eze scoring 2. Can Spurs lose the ball here? Bukayo Saka has picked it up. Arsenal now looking menacing. Van de Ven has fouled him, but play goes on. Declan Rice has got the ball. He feeds Leandro Trossard on the left-hand side. First time ball into the box. Ebre Eze was waiting. Well, he wants that hat-trick. He's hungry for it. Cross comes into the box. Cleared away. Here's Martin Zubimendi. Excellent block by Cuti Romero. And the offside flag belatedly has been raised. 5 minutes into the second half. Nothing's changed. Aman says hat-trick on the cards for Eze. He'll be so hungry for it. Nearly found him there. Good bit of defending from Cuti Romero. Just got his head on it. Ebre Eze has 40 minutes for that hat-trick, Aman, and I'm sure every opportunity he gets, he's going to shoot. Well, he's got one with his right foot, one with his left foot. Add a header to it, and that's a perfect hat-trick. Again, no Gabriel Magalhaes, no recognised centre-forward. Arsenal 3-0 up. And I think the Spurs fans probably had it up to here with Thomas Frank. I mean, they had a manager in Ange Postecoglou who emphasised on open, attacking football. They had enough of him. They had them on 17th position last summer, but winning the Europa League gave him no grace. He went to Forest, lasted 7 games, and he was sacked too. Hasn't been the most pleasant one, but it's a completely different style for the Spurs players to adapt here. Look at Arsenal going again. Mikel Arteta has given clear instructions to go out there and kill. Here's Odegaard. Again, can't keep the ball whatsoever. Arsenal's press is relentless. Timber wins the ball back. Xavi Simons with a rough tackle there. He might pick up a yellow card. Was a forceful one by the Dutchman. It's a free kick for Arsenal. Yep, Aman says, good to have more folks on the score sheet, especially when Saka isn't getting many. This is the game where Saka has to score here. He's not going to get a better opportunity than this to just break his drought. Has struggled with non-penalty goals. Yep, I'm shocked that the yellow wasn't given. That is such a terrible tackle by Xavi Simons. I think Michael Oliver just felt a bit of pity more than anything else. But you have to ref the game on its merit. You cannot be thinking anything else. That was a terrible challenge by the second half substitute. But it's a free kick here for Arsenal. Declan Rice to deliver. Arsenal looking to rub salt on the Spurs' wounds. Rice delivers. Good whip on the ball. The header is not on target there by Calafiori. Instead, it's a flick-on header to Leandro Trossard, who recovers the ball. Feeds it up to Eze. Now drives into the central areas. Clever clip pass. Arsenal really balling out here. Here's Kudus. Finally, Spurs get out here for the first time in the second half. Here's Audible. Again, look at the number of red and white shirts. They have swarmed the Spurs player there. Zubimendi with a needless foul. Arsenal had enough bodies back. That's the first time you've seen Wilson Audible drive with the ball. Look at that for stats. 10 attempts, 5 on target for Arsenal. Spurs, a grand total of 0. Now you're just being greedy, Aman. Missing Gabriel, what a ball that was from Rice. That is absolutely true. I mean, his whip with his right foot is such a cheat code, man. That's why Arsenal have scored so many goals from set pieces. Ball into the box. You look at Spurs' quality of the set piece. That was terrible from Xavi Simons. Again, Kudus under pressure. Simons just lifts that into the air. Here's Bentancur. Brilliant from Mikel Merino. Look at the centre forward pressing. And now gets the ball to Saka. Away from Destiny Udogie. Now Zubimendi. Declan Rice. Arsenal finally playing at the game at a walking pace here. They've been so frenetic. All over Spurs like a rash. Here's Nketiah. Calafiori. Zubimendi. Oh, he's taken a lot of time on the ball there. He's lost out. Richarlison has gone for the chip. And he's got the goal. Oh my word. Take a bow, Richarlison. That is outrageous. That is audacious. Spurs have a lifeline. And it comes out of absolutely nothing. Zubimendi far too casual there. What a challenge that was from Paulinho. And then the absolute cheek from Richarlison to take that first time. Raya, this is not the first time he's been chipped from the halfway line. But that is special. Very, very special. It just felt that Spurs were not going to score and they needed something magical. And that's exactly what they have gotten there. Well, that all comes from Zubimendi. It's far too casual. Arsenal looking for the fourth immediately here. And now Spurs will have a lot more of a spring in their step. 4 goals in the North London derby. I did not predict that. I thought it's going to be a tight and tense encounter. Maybe just the 1 goal separating the two teams. And if Spurs score next, whew, that will be very, very interesting. Well, that was absolutely crazy there from Richarlison. The absolute nerve to take that one. But that is on Zubimendi, man. He's got 2 players on him. He's just dawdling on the ball. Just get rid of it. Pass. Decided against it. Got stripped of the ball. And the rest is history. Well, Spurs score with their only attempt in the match so far. And now you want Thomas Frank to be a bit more braver here. He made the sub, but he should be making a couple more here. I think Randall Kolo Muani is a must for Thomas Frank. Maybe Richarlison on the left because we've seen very little of Audible. Yep, Aman, absolutely. Zubi, too casual. You cannot do that, man. Especially when you've played so well in the match. Again, Arsenal getting caught here in the midfield area. Surely a foul there by Marino? No. Referee saw that. He was right in position. Again, Arsenal so casual in the middle of the park here. They were popping the ball very swiftly early on. Suddenly, they're just trying to hold on to the ball for a second too long. You can see Palhinha is just snapping into the challenges. Let's have a look here. I don't know what Palhinha is complaining about. Either way, play goes on here. Spurs need to find the second. As I mentioned before, Arsenal are not going to give away a cheap goal again, I think. They need to try and find creative opportunities here. Calafiori, strange pass, and look what a goal has done here. Suddenly, Arsenal look like they can't string a couple of passes together. This is not the Arsenal team that we've seen for the first 55 minutes or so. Calafiori with an errant pass. This is where Spurs have to somehow try and drag their team forward here. Take advantage of what looks like Arsenal just being a bit too casual. Romero's header. Saliba clears. What a pass that was. The clearance turns into a magnificent pass for Leandro Trossard, who doesn't have the pace to get past Spence. And Spence just eases him out the way. It's a goal kick for Spurs. You need proactiveness here from Thomas Frank. He'll be so relieved that Spurs have pulled one back at least. Into the 60th minute. Xavi Simons has not really affected the game. Spurs looking to play out the back. It is so hectic. Oh, the touch from Vicario is a mess. But they somehow get away from it. And now Spurs on the move here. Look at Destiny Udogie. He's got space onto the left-hand side. Here's Audible. Cross comes into the box. Headed away by Hincapié brilliantly. Lovely first touch there by Bentancur, but it gets away. Palhinha crunches into the challenge. Spurs now looking a different team. Simmons should look on the left-hand side. He dribbles well. Last touch. Comes off the Spurs player. Goal kick. Brilliant from Bukayo Saka, helping out defensively. Yep, I'm saying that was almost an awesome run there by Trossard. His touch was brilliant. I thought Saliba just looking to boot the ball forward, but turns into an unbelievable pass. Into the 60th minute, Mikel Arteta will be fuming that his team haven't kept the clean sheet. Here's Saka. Saliba. Rice. Back to Saliba. And 30 minutes plus stoppage time remain in the North London derby. 4 goals. Well, Arsenal were 3-0 up in the 46th minute. Ooh, Jet Spence has not played on. That's a crunching challenge on Zubomendi. He got the ball and the player. Fair challenge in the eyes of the referee there. Good pass there by Romero. Bentancur turns. Here's Kudus. Put pressure immediately by Calafiori. Kudus spins away. Brilliant carry there from the Ghanaian. Look at him go here. Somehow keeps the ball. Well, 4 or 5 Arsenal players are trying to stop him here. Mohamed Kudus. One-man mission there. He's the only one showing any sort of intensity in those forward areas. Ebreze helping out defensively was much needed too, because as soon as Mohamed Kudus spins away from trouble, your team as a whole couldn't be in a lot of trouble. Yep, Ebreze getting a sore one as he was on the deck. You can see the likes of Saka, Eze, Marino all helping out defensively. And Spurs do have the ball. Where Richarlison scored against Manchester United, now scores against Arsenal. This one might be inconsequential, but you never know if Spurs get the second. Could really open the game up. And this is where Arsenal just have to resort to what was working in the first 50 odd minutes. Spurs rarely laid a glove on them. Didn't lay a glove of them, to be absolutely honest and accurate. Throw in for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta still applauding, still wants that intensity. Well, Arteta, the wry smile on his face, having a word with the opposition bench there. You know that Arteta bleeds Arsenal, the passion for the club, very apparent. Free kick for Arsenal. It's going to be Declan Rice, the right-footed in-swinger here. Good whip on the ball there. Vicario punches. It nearly fell to Eze. It's Eze again. William Saliba could have gone for the shot there. It's Hincapié. Well blocked there by Jet Spence. It's a corner. Nope. Was the offside flag belatedly raised. Well, William Saliba could have pulled the trigger there first time. There's no real time to really control and then shoot. Well, the double substitution for Spurs. Now that they finally have some sort of a route back into the contest, they still need 2 goals. They're going with Sarr and Kolo Muani. That's the right move. Absolutely the right move. I was expecting either one of them to come on at the half-time whistle, but waited another 18 or so minutes in the second half. Declan Rice just boots that forward. It's not the same Arsenal team that we saw in the first 50 minutes where they were just all over Spurs relentlessly. Spurs looking a bit more confident. Still have a lot of work to do. Brilliant turn there by Paulinho away from Rice. Feeds it into Richarlison. Here's Simmons. Decent pass to Udogie. Now Audible on the left-hand side. He's got the overlap. Doesn't decide to use him. It's Simmons instead. Goes for the strike. That is a weak shot there straight down the throat of David Raya. Here's Saliba. Pumped forward by David Raya. Saka does well, but it's been adjudged as a handball there. Well, Spurs will be looking for a goal here in the next 15 minutes or so. They can get one back. The last 10 minutes will be really nervy for the Gunners. And in no universe would you expect Arsenal to throw a 3-0 lead, especially at home. Here's Simmons. Back to Van der Ven. It's the first time that we're seeing the 2 centre-halves for Spurs on the halfway line. Arsenal now looking to lock things down. Kudus. Bentancur to Spence. Well, Pape Sarr might replace Bentancur. Kolo Muani, I expect him to take Audible's place, and Richarlison moving on to the left-hand side. Here's Romero. This is better from Spurs. Yes, it's not threatening possession, but just their ability to keep the ball has been questioned. The double substitution for Spurs is on its way here. Audible off. Pape Sarr on. Who's going to be the second casualty? We'll wait and see. It looks like Randall Kolo Muani has some sort of an instrument to protect his jaw, and it is Bentancur. I got it spot on. Bentancur and Audible off. Sarr and Kolo Muani on for Spurs here. 24 minutes plus stoppage time remain. Arsenal looking to go 6 clear. Chelsea await next week at Stamford Bridge in that blockbuster clash between first and second. Good pass forward. Mikel Merino clips it forward. Bukayo Saka's first touch was decent, but he can't get a shot away. Good recovery there from the Spurs defender. Here's Sarr, his first involvement. Van der Ven to Romero. Spurs still keeping their 4-2-3-1 shape here. Pape Sarr and João Palhinha as the 2 midfielders. Jet Spence, the right back. Need to see him make a few more overlaps. It's been all Mohamed Kudus on the right-hand side for Spurs. Jet Spence can break his neck and provide the overlap. Just give Arsenal a problem to solve here. Calafiori has had only kudos to try and contain. David Raya, good pass there to Trossard. Trossard shields it well. Might be a foul there. Yeah, surely it is. Thomas Frank would have seen all hope lost a minute into the second half. But that outrageous Richarlison goal has given his team a glimmer of hope. But that's just about it. Still yet to create anything here, Spurs. Nearly 70 minutes on the clock. We'll see whether or not Kolo Muani and Pape Sarr's and Xavi Simons' introduction will change that. Here's Eze, who's on a hat-trick against the team that almost bought him in the summer. Here's Eze. Lovely turn there by Urian Timber. Somehow keeps the ball under immense pressure. Eze. He's been robbed off the ball here. Arsenal have lost the ball centrally on multiple occasions here. And Spurs have committed bodies forward. Here's Xavi Simons. Better from Spurs. Richarlison gets away from Hincapié. Keeps the ball somehow. Cross comes into the box. That's a terrible cross. Oh my word. João Paulinho, not known for his crossing. Giving us an exhibit as to why. You expect better, but look at that. In the last 10 minutes, Spurs have had nearly 70% of the ball. Thomas Frank will be a lot more encouraged with the second half, but you're 3-0 down. The least you could do is put a little bit more effort and get the ball, but maybe far too late. Mikel Arteta just pacing down the touchline. A bit nervously here. He'll be just waiting for that next Arsenal attack to get them the goal. Well, someone's on the deck here. I think it is Mikel Merino. Seems to have got a whack on the side of his face. Should be okay. Might be just a flailing arm that caught him. It's a yellow card for Richarlison. Wait and see as to what that was. It was Van de Ven's challenge. Oh, it's a elbow there on. I don't understand why Richarlison picked up a yellow card by the looks of it. Another yellow card being thrown here, and it is to Mikel Merino. That is very strange if Merino picks up a yellow card for being fouled. Michael Oliver trying to get a grip of the game here. Just waiting to see the confirmation on who picked up the yellow card. It was Van de Ven's foul. It looked like Richarlison picked up the yellow card. Romero who picked up the yellow card. He misses the next match. Again, I'm very surprised why it wasn't Van de Ven, because it was his fault. Very strange. Then again, the English referees, what do you expect? Good ball forward. Richarlison, oh, nearly finds Randall Kolo Muani, and Calafiori on the stretch with a last-ditch interception. Arsenal just falling asleep here on a couple of occasions. Offside flag belatedly raised here. Again, how did that space open up here? Suddenly Spurs finding gaps. 20 minutes plus stoppage time remain. Finally a period where Spurs have played some football. I mean, you look at the first 50-55 minutes, it was all Arsenal. Spurs finally realizing that they can play football too. Positive substitutions helping their cause. Raya goes long. Merino wins the header. It's a good win there by Romero. Saka thought about the shot. It's a deflection. Good save there by Vicario. Pushes that around the corner for a corner. Let's have a look whether or not there was a deflection here. No, it wasn't. That is a beautiful curler there by Bukayo Saka. Nearly nestled into the far corner. Good save there by Vicario. Full stretched. Gets that away for a corner. Just the two corners in the match so far, both falling to the home side. Yeah, no Gabriel Magalhaes to attack this one. But the Declan Rice in-swinger is a real weapon for Arsenal. Calafiori, Hincapié, Timber. and Leandro Trossard all starting well past the far stick. That's a poor ball there by Declan Rice. Eze trying to get that back. It's out for a goal kick. Ebre Eze will be shooting on sight here. Whichever opportunity he gets for a hat-trick. The North London derby. I'm not sure the last player who did that. You'll have to really dig deep into the archives to see who scored a hat-trick. Good work there from Trossard. Brilliant play from him. Finds Declan Rice, who's a auxiliary left winger. Calafiori lets that go. Simmons does well, but he's lost out. Zubimendi, Trossard takes a deflection. Another corner for Arsenal. Well, familiar scenario here for Arsenal, now dominating territory after a long period of time where Spurs finally grew into the game. Declan Rice's previous delivery was lacking any sort of height. This time, you can bet your money that he's going to get elevation and whip on this one. Rice to deliver. Arsenal looking to regain their 3-goal cushion here. Still, 2 is plenty. You never know in this game as Rice delivers. Gets the height. The header is on target. Ooh, there was a chance. That's when you know someone like Gabriel Magalhaes would make things completely different. Look at Eze working so hard to help out defensively. Spurs were looking to get on the counter-attack. Declan Rice feeds that forward. Romero's header. Has to try and find Simmons instead. It's gone to Timber. Here's Bukayo Saka. Mikel Merino bumped off the ball quite easily. Here's Simmons driving very well. Good play here from Xavi Simmons. Surely has to release the ball. He waits and now finds Mohamed Kudus. He's got the overlap for the first time. Cross comes into the box. Oh, that's a terrible cross. Again, he has to use the overlap there, Kudus. Oh, what about that for a touch there from Mohamed Kudus after a terrible throw by David Raya. Spence delivers. It's cleared away. Well, David Raya cannot afford to have another mistake under his belt here in this match. Into the 75th minute. You can see Raya looking for that quick release, but that touch by Mohamed Kudus was absolutely ridiculous. The way he brought that down. It's very special. Let's do the Chelsea-Arsenal watch-along together. Come tomorrow to Imperial and we'll do a recce of the new studio. We'll see whether or not it's possible. It would be really fun. It would be very stressful. But let's try. We're into the final 15. Arsenal looking to get that bit of composure back into their game here. Romero, back to Vicario. Had to make a save of Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka in this match already. Having seen his team concede 3 goals. Lovely bit of play there by Merino. It's Trossard, clips it forward. Ebre Eze is on a hat-trick. Eze! 4-1 to Arsenal. It's a hat-trick for Ebre Eze. Absolutely brilliant from Eze. His ball striking has been ridiculous today. And Arsenal close the game out here. 3 goals restored and 3 points for the Gunners. Well, it's again in the central positions. Ebre Eze is absolutely brilliant. Fizzing drive into the corner. No chance for Vicario. 2 on his right foot, 1 on his left. Ebre Eze is having the North London debut dream here. This play from Merino is very, very good. Look at the amount of space in the central areas though. I can't understand why Destiny Udogie is committed so early. 1 touch away from him, sits him down and then curls in a beauty. Trossard with a goal and another assist. Mikel Arteta will be feeling a whole lot better now, and David Raya and Martin Zubimendi will be breathing easy. Look at the celebration there on the bench of the Arsenal. Just having a ball here, and now they can look to make a couple of substitutions with the likes of Ethan Wanyeri, Noni Madueke, and even Max Dowman, the 15-year-old, who can come on for the last 15 minutes and get his first taste of North London action. Here's Ebre Eze scoring a hat-trick. Leandro Trossard getting a warm hug from the Arsenal coaching staff as Noni Madueke replaces him as Mohamed Kudus. His evening comes to an end. He's been replaced. It's Jet Spence coming off too. This is all far too late from Spurs' point of view. It's Pedro Porro is replacing Jet Spence and Brennan Johnson replacing Mohamed Kudus. It's almost like Thomas Frank has got his eyes on PSG midweek and he's resigned to defeat here. Someone says Eze hat-trick is too much to take for Spurs. Absolutely, man. You just knew that Eze was going to score a goal today, weren't you? But 3? Whew. Brilliant. And 3 very crisp shots. Just ball striking is outstanding. Ooh, they've given the ball away here. Arsenal looking for the 5th. It's Eze looking for his 4th. Oh, what a save that is by Vicario. That should have been 5 for Arsenal. Again, Spurs absolutely criminal defending. Ebre Eze has got so much space, sits up nicely. That is an outstanding save by Guglielmo Vicario. Sat up nicely. It should have been 4 for Eze. It should have been 5 for Arsenal. Spurs' defending centrally has been absolutely shocking. They haven't learned their lessons, and look at the Arsenal's fans now. They're all waving their scarves, having a ball out there. Again, they're looking for the 5th now. Ooh, Madueke is just trying to push that ball forward. Here's Richarlison. Feeds it onto the left-hand side. Here's Xavi Simons. Spurs committing bodies forward. Richarlison, Kolomuani and Brennan Johnson all joining the attack. Simons thought about the shot. What is he thinking about, man? Oh my goodness me. He's got no power, no direction. It's a criminal effort, really, especially when you've got 3 players committed in the attack. To take a shot from there is absolutely unacceptable. Well, Leandro Trossard can enjoy the final 10 minutes from the bench. He's the one who got the ball rolling. Here's Simons again. This time keeps the ball short. Into the 80th minute. Simons feeds it to Pedro Porro. Surprising exclusion from the starting 11, but Jet Spence more than capable of playing the right back role. Right wing back today, rather. Here's Romero. Finds Paulinha. Good switch out there by Simons to Destiny Udogie. Again into the final 10 minutes. Arsenal fans can enjoy the rest of the match now. Here's Kolomuani. Trying to get away from his French teammate in William Saliba. Saliba is very strong. He concedes a corner. Well, Randall Kolomuani in 2022 notoriously had that big opportunity right at the end to win the World Cup for France. That save from Emi Martinez was really special, and from there on it was Argentina who won the match and the World Cup on pens. It's a moment that he will never forget, unfortunately. Kolomuani. Good ball into the box, cleared away by Declan Rice. We played this from Pedro Porro on the outside. Again, this is the first time we've seen a Spurs fullback actually try and cross here. Pedro Porro. Not the best of crosses, but just the intent of it. Arsenal 4-1 up. Did not expect 5 goals in this match. But Spurs pretty much hit the self-destruct button in the first minute of the second half. Here's Saka to Noni Madueke, looking for his first Arsenal goal. Madueke, good sliding challenge there by Pedro Porro. Corner for Arsenal. It's the perfect opportunity for some of the Arsenal players to add to their tally, or open their tally rather, and really do rub some extra bit of salt on the Spurs' wounds. Well, 4 goals for Arsenal, 3 of them from their summer signing, their big money signing from Crystal Palace, Eberechi Eze. 8 minutes plus stoppage time remain. The result has never been in doubt since Arsenal got the second. Laman says the last hat-trick apparently in the North London derby was in 1978. Whew, that was a long time ago. Please put the name as well, just for my general knowledge. I like knowing useless stats like these. As Declan Rice looks to deliver the ball into the box here. Again, Declan Rice's delivery has been pretty much hit or miss. He cycles the ball into the box. Arsenal looking for the ball to break here, but it's cleared away. Again, Saliba gets there first ahead of Randall Kolo Muani. Throw in for Spurs. Thomas Frank seeing his side possibly in 10th position if Manchester United win tomorrow. Again, Saliba so strong against Richarlison. Throw in for Spurs though. Rice is absolutely fuming with that decision. Just shows you how hungry Arsenal are here to really close this game out with the dominance that they've showed throughout this match. The only reason that they conceded a goal was a moment of, you can say, madness slash magic. Zubimendi dawdling on the ball and Richarlison scoring from the halfway line almost to chip David Raya. Rice again wins the ball. Here's Madueke trying to push and run. The Arsenal fans will be absolutely giving the Spurs fans the business. Ones who have made that short journey at the far end there. A nightmare game for them. A loss against Chelsea at home would have been very damaging. And a 4-1 loss here is even worse. Well, Aman with a bit of trivia here. The last hat-trick in the North London derby in 1978 was by Alan Sunderland for Arsenal in a 5-0 victory. 1978, that's incredible. I mean, this really is history. I mean, for Eberechi Eze to go out there and do what he's done is brilliant. And he's, as it stands, Arsenal 6 points ahead of second place Chelsea, 7 ahead of Manchester City, Spurs in 9th. As I mentioned, if United win tomorrow, Spurs will be in 10th after match week 12, and it's Ethan Nwaneri getting a few minutes here. Should bring on Max Dowman too, you know. I mean, the 15-year-old getting his first taste of North London action. And the game is all but buried here in the last 5 minutes. And this is where you need to try and take off the likes of Declan Rice maybe, or just give some of the players some rest. But Mikel Arteta is not taking it lightly here. They've got Bayern Munich midweek. Arsenal will be curious to see whether or not Arteta rotates the pack there, because it's Arsenal and Bayern Munich are the top 2 teams in the Champions League in the new format. Well, it's not new anymore. It started last season, but what I mean there is a good bit of carry there from Jurriën Timber. Well cleared. Well, Bayern Munich are top of Bundesliga. A 5-2 victory against Freiburg. Michael Olise playing another magnificent game. Well, it's getting heated here finally. You're seeing a bit of challenges flying. Declan Rice is fuming. So is Richarlison. Well, for the first time, we've seen tempers flare in the North London derby. It's taken a good part of 85 minutes for that to happen. You want to see a few hands being thrown here by the Spurs players at least. Show a bit of passion, a bit of fight. We've seen very little of it in this match. A couple of yellow cards on its way. Bukayo Saka trying to point out the guilty party. Is Declan Rice going to pick up a yellow? Michael Oliver giving a talking down to the English midfielder. Let's have a look at the incident here. Oh yeah, it was a cynical foul there by Declan Rice. Really don't understand Rice's reaction after that foul. he was the one who committed the foul and maybe had a few words at Xavi Simons for maybe exaggerating the foul. With 3 minutes of stoppage time remain. Arsenal taking care of business in a big week for them. Mikel Merino coming off. Ethan Nwaneri replacing the Spaniard, who's the one who opened the game up. And Piero Hincapié coming off. Great Premier League start for him. Doesn't get the clean sheet, but he had an excellent display, and Christian Mosquera will take his spot. Arsenal looking to shut shop. Christian Mosquera getting his first taste of the North London derby. What is stopping Arteta from giving Max Dowman a few minutes here? You can look at the Spurs end. It's absolutely emptied out. Fair play to some of the fans who have managed to stay till the end. They could have very easily left after the 46th minute and you wouldn't blame them whatsoever. Being 3-0 down to Arsenal really is unacceptable. Here's Pape Sarr. He's barely gotten a kick in this match though, since coming on. Dogi, nice turn. João Palhinha looking to switch the play. Nowhere near Brennan Johnson. Calafiori reads that well. Here's Zubimendi. Just under 90 seconds remain of the 90. Arsenal home and dry here. Calafiori to Declan Rice. Here's Christian Mosquera. Gives the ball away, but Calafiori nicks it back. Lovely feed there by the Italian. David Raya takes no chances. Anywhere will do. Just clears that away. Into the final minute of the 90. To wrap up 9 of the 10 games of match week 12. We've seen a lot of goals this weekend and we're so happy that Premier League football is back and no more international break till at least March. Poro's switch. Dogi's had to chase that down. Here's Xavi Simons. He's had a couple of shots in terms of impact. Decent. Can't say too much about the Tottenham attack here. Oh, Christian Romero just gives the ball away. Madueke pinches it here. Noni Madueke gets away from Sarr. He's got Timber on the overlap. Almost at the underlap here as Saka holding the width and Spurs win the ball back. Are they going to show any sort of intent to try and get a goal here? Should only be a consolation. Xavi Simons gets robbed off the ball. Here's Saka. We're into stoppage time now. 4 minutes of stoppage time added on. Eze with a brilliant turn and nearly squeezes the ball forward. João Palhinha has just been battling and throwing himself around. Here's Ebre Eze. Eze could have had 4 in this match. After getting his hat-trick, had the best opportunity as the ball sat up nicely and he really did strike that well. Save from Vicario was even better. Arsenal just knocking the ball around here. Good switch there by Declan Rice on his left foot. Finds Noni Madueke on the right hand side. His preferred position here, Noni Madueke. Arteta will be very... Oh, that's a needless foul there by Kolo Muani. Just kicks out at Madueke. Shows good sportsmanship though. Picks him up quickly. 3 minutes of stoppage time remain. Arsenal looking to just see out the clock now. Damaging defeat for Thomas Frank and Spurs. We'll hope that the scoreline would have been tight if they were to lose. Arsenal looking to... Arteta rather, looking to just give a few more minutes to the youngster, Miles Lewis-Skelly. We've seen very little game time because of Calafiori's preference and fitness this season. He's been the first choice left back. Lewis-Skelly, who had that breakthrough season last season where he was absolutely brilliant. I mean, you just thought that he's going to be that starting left back for the next how many ever years for Arsenal. But Arteta just managing expectations. See that Wanyeri and Miles Lewis-Kelly haven't had too much of game time, but you know that when the time is right, they will have enough time. Arsenal looking to challenge on all fronts. Arsenal take it short here and quickly. Chance here, it's cleared away. Xavi Simons. Again, Declan Rice quickly on the scene here. 90 seconds of stoppage time remaining. Arsenal, 6 points clear at the top here. Just feels like this is their season, isn't it? Even the most negative Arsenal fan will finally understand that this is their season here. They've been burnt before, but this is not the Arsenal of old. This is a completely different Arsenal side. I mean, yes, Spurs scored one, but David Reyes had absolutely nothing to do apart from pick the ball from the back of the net once. And that came from a free goal, really. Other than that, Spurs have not created anything. Here's Lewis-Kelly to the hat-trick hero, Ebre Eze, who will not just taste victory in his first North London derby, but also take the match ball home with him. Imagine that. I mean, you come to Arsenal as a youngster, 8 or 9 years, you've been released, then you have this journey of a tough journey, really, going through the lower leagues, then come through to Crystal Palace, really razzle-dazzle, and then finally move to your boyhood club, and in your first North London derby, you score a hat-trick. Sometimes, just sometimes, stories are already written, aren't they? Here's Paulinho. Jet Spence, surely the last attack of the match here. Spurs not looking to throw the kitchen sink or whatsoever. Here's Simons, again taking so much time on the ball, and it's not an accurate pass either. The referee has had a look at his watch. Should be that. Romero passes, and the referee does blow the full-time whistle. Arsenal utterly dominant in the North London derby. Look at the celebrations there by Mikel Arteta and his coaching staff. He knows what a massive 3 points this is, heading into a crucial week against Bayern Munich and Chelsea. Leandro Trossard opened the scoring, and from there on it was the Ebre Eze show. 3 goals for the new recruit against the club where he almost joined in the summer. He preferred his boyhood club, and that decision has paid dividends as the cameraman follows the hat-trick hero. He gets the match ball. Arsenal 6 clear at the top after match week 12. The Arsenal fans will be going home very happy with a massive smile on their face. Alan Manas says, easy. Yep, absolutely. Easy peasy. Could have been more as well. Spurs very fortunate to get one, courtesy of Richarlison. An outrageous goal for him, and you can see Ebre Eze with the most sheepish of smiles. He looks like a kid in a candy store here, living out his dreams. Leandro Trossard is the crucial goal, but from there, it was all about Eze. And as it stands, Spurs in 9th, might slip to 10th if Manchester United win tomorrow. Even a draw will take them ahead of Spurs. Chelsea in 2nd, Arsenal on top with a plus 18 goal difference to boot as well. A 7-point gap away from Manchester City. Liverpool not even in the top half of the table. They're struggling in 11th. Arsenal in pole position to finally break their 21-year drought in the Premier League. As we look at the previous North London derby hat-tricks, Ted Drake in 1934, Terry Dyson in 1961, and as Aman mentioned before, Alan Sunderland in their 5-0 victory away in December 1978, and they have a new name on the list, Eberechi Eze, scoring a hat-trick in 2025. Well, I'm sure the Arsenal fans would have thoroughly enjoyed this match with massive smiles on their face, going to work tomorrow with bragging rights. Full time here at the Emirates Stadium, and I'd like to thank everyone who tuned in. Thanks, Aman, for all the contribution in the live chat and a bit of trivia for me too. Full time.